It's 6:30. You're live here on GHOne TV. It's time for news tonight. I'm Natalie. A look at our top stories. Coming up tonight, NPP Slams OSP as being unreasonable as they outline the former minister's cooperation in previous investigations.
Atta can never be a fugitive. He is not a fugitive, and he will never be a fugitive. The OSP got it wrong.
Also coming up, minority charges government to arrest and prosecute persons who raided Ken Ofori's home.
Mr. Ken Ofori, he's traumatized by the labeling of this adjective described to his person.
We call on all democracy-loving Ghanaians, civil society organizations, to take note of these dangerous developments.
More as majority leader apologizes for raid of Ken Ofori's home.
I have also spoken with the Minister of Interior, who has spoken with his IGP, and I've spoken with the Minister of Defense, and all of them give their assurance to this House that a thing like that will not happen again.
Also ahead tonight, Interior Minister sets up 7-member committee to address challenges in recruitment for security services personnel. And later, Ghanaian love songs. We bring you the details of these stories and much more news here on News Tonight. Do stay. Let's now settle down for the details here on News Tonight. Wherever you are in the world, you can watch this bulletin live on Facebook and X at GHOne TV. The minority in Parliament is charging government to arrest and prosecute persons who raided homes of former appointees, including former Finance Minister Ken Ofori. Addressing the media in Parliament, Deputy Minority Leader Patricia Appiagyei accused government of using state agencies to harass former appointees and questioned the move by the special prosecutor to declare Mr. Ofori a wanted fugitive, especially when no charges had been leveled against the former minister.
The rise of an alarming trend where political witch hunt in the form of orchestrated harassment of former government officials, threats, targeted attacks, and state-sponsored aggression and intimidation are being used as tools to settle political scores. Ghana's political climate is undergoing a perilous shift, and we will not tolerate the erosion of our democracy. For such incidents to occur under a government that once vehemently condemned the use of military force in political matters or for political ends is not only the height of hypocrisy, but also a shameful betrayal of democratic principles. The very leaders who cried foul over what they claim to be military intimidation while in opposition are now wielding state power in an even more reckless and tyrannical manner. This is not governance. It is a hostile takeover, reminiscent of regimes that thrive on suppression, intimidation, and fear.
The deputy minority leader has also been justifying why her side believes government is embarking on selective justice.
Another matter that demands the attention of the public is the glaring bias and selective justice being exhibited by state security agencies in the wasted no time in summoning the minority chief whip, Honorable Frank Anodombre, for questioning over comments he made concerning the disputed Ablekuma North parliamentary elections results. Yet, when Mustafa Bande, the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC and Deputy Director of Operations in the Presidency, openly declared on live television that the NDC would sacrifice the minority leader, Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin, the NIB found no cause for alarm and did not summon him for questioning. Neither did they demand an explanation for such utterances. Mr. Bande's comments were dangerous and a criminal incitement to harm the minority leader. This doubles.
The minority is further calling on President Mahama to step in to curb the phenomenon.
We will not remain silent while political persecution takes root in Ghana. This country belongs to all of us, and no administration has the right to weaponize state institutions against its political opponents. We demand an immediate, transparent, and independent investigation into these politically motivated attacks. If we allow this lawlessness to continue unchecked, tomorrow it will not just be politicians who are targeted, but ordinary Ghanaians who hold dissenting views. We call on all democracy-loving Ghanaians, civil society organizations, religious groups, traditional authorities, and the international community to take note of these dangerous developments and to stand with us in rejecting this wave of political persecutions. If unchecked, these abuses will set Ghana back decades and erode the democratic gains we have made. The government.
Discussions on this issue continued on the floor of Parliament. Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin indicated that Mr. Ofori Atta is traumatized by the event.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Ofori Atta, as at this morning, I had an extensive engagement with him. He's traumatized by the labeling of this adjective described to his person, but he still knows that his God is with him. He's undergoing some medical procedure. In fact, I had an early morning engagement with the Chief of Staff who confirmed that indeed Mr. Ofori Atta wrote to him and is in receipt of the letter. He was very sincere in telling me that. So within reasonable time, I'm sure he would come. I will also engage the Office of the Special Prosecutor engage constructively, assure him and his office that if there was any miscommunication, I, as a leader of my side, is assuring him that the man will make himself available. He left the country with permission. He would come, and if there is anything that has to be investigated, he will make himself available.
Meanwhile, the majority leader, Mahama Ayariga, has apologized for the raid in the home of the former finance minister.
His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama remains committed to ensure that the rights and liberties of every individual is respected or are respected. So, Speaker, secondly, I make this statement on the basis of the commitment of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to reset this country, which means that everybody must act in compliance with the law and the mandate of institutions. And so I have called the relevant stakeholders in the matter to find out exactly what happened. So, Speaker, it is true that the President and
the new patriotic party has slammed the OSP for what it describes as an unreasonable declaration of former finance minister Ken Ofori as a wanted man and fugitive of justice. During a press briefing on Wednesday, Special Prosecutor Kisi Ejabing said the former minister is being investigated in 5 cases, including the National Cathedral Project and Strategic Mobilization Limited SML. The opposition NPP has mounted a spirited defense for the former finance minister. Addressing the media a while ago here in Accra, national organizer of the party, Henry Nana Boakye, said the declaration is a national embarrassment.
Mr. Ofori can never be a fugitive. He is not a fugitive, and he will never be a fugitive. The OSP got it wrong. Once Mr. Ofori's doctors declare him fit and healthy, he will return to the country. Until then, the special prosecutor should avoid making sensational statements, provoking public emotions, and creating drama over the matter that could have been adequately resolved through correspondence. If you label your former finance minister as a fugitive, which indeed is not so, what you are doing is that it is a national embarrassment. It amounts to national embarrassment. When indeed the length of your correspondence is just 2 weeks and you can't wait. It's not as if the person is lost. The person cannot be traced.
He added the OSP lacked power to declare Ken Ofori wanted, only the court.
What is so urgent that if he could have waited 2 years before he interviewed Sam Mahama in the famous Airbus issue, then why this haste? You request the presence of somebody, the person say that I'm out of the jurisdiction for medical attention. You have received letters from his lawyers. You have received letters from the hospital signed by a medical doctor. And all of these correspondence is just within 2 weeks. Then quickly you label the person as a fugitive. Very, very bizarre situation. If somebody is declared a fugitive, it means that person cannot be reached, cannot be traced. You don't even know where the person is. And at least you give yourself a reasonable time after a search. In any case, the OSP lacked that power to declare anybody wanted. It is only the court that can do so.
He further revealed Ken Ofori will return to the country after March.
Mr. Ofori's lawyer stated, please find the attached document indicating that our client is receiving attention at the Mayo Clinic in the US. It outlines his appointment and suggests a date after March when our client may be able to return to Ghana. A date after March. March is just next month. So if you think that you need a person badly for your investigation, just as you travel to UK to interview Sam Mahama, what then stop you from doing same to former finance minister?
Now, touching on the termination of appointments of December 7 recruitment, Henry Nana Boakye argued the termination was poorly convinced and illegal. Well, let's now get on to Zoom and engage with Mustafa Bande, the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, on this issue. Thanks for joining, Mustafa. It's good to have you here on News Tonight. Now, first of all, let's begin with this call on persons who raided the home of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori Atta. In your view, I mean, if the Office of the Special Prosecutor was investigating this issue on the Finance Minister, was there a necessity to have the raid in his home?
Well, I think that basically I would not hold brief for the special prosecutor. Neither would I hold brief for national security. We all do know that Ken Ofori Atta would have been under investigation not by one single entity, but several other entities. Those entities at least have the mandate to put anyone under investigation as long as they have a cost to do so. What is required by law is whether or not an entity has a warrant to go into somebody's home or not. And so that's the question that Ghanaians should be asking. But if we all say that, oh, because they have used military, should they use civilians? When you go to national security, all the officers there are either police officers or military officers. And so if for any reason national security or any unit of it embark on an operation with military officers, no one has been harmed, no one has been beaten, they've not taken anything, what is the hue about it? We all do know that Ken Ofori Atta is not just a fugitive, he is also a very wicked fellow who have collapsed people's banks, in the back of it used his own companies to profit in state transactions. We all know that he supervised colossal dissipation of the public purse. We know that. Is it strange? So if institutions are embarking on several investigations, the NPP, who is the biggest victim of the scandalous governance of President Akufo-Addo, is now being paid damnable. It will not stand. Ken Ofori Atta can die there. His dead body will be arrested and prosecuted to the justice of the people of Ghana. Condemnable that any politician should harbor that kind of courage to steal and destroy companies and institutions like Ken Ofori Atta did. Look, it is not just Ghanaians who are looking for Ken Ofori Atta. The first person to declare him a fugitive was President Akufo-Addo himself. Go and ask the NPP people. Number two, I have also heard my name be mentioned that I've threatened the minority leader. I've never said that anywhere. The NPP is just looking for people to equalize. But I'm saying that Apenyuma King's posture in Parliament will not help their minority, because you cannot pretend to be fighting for the party at the eyes of the cameras, then behind you are trying to push your own deals. Whosoever calls for equity must come with clean hands. So the Rambo style and behavior of arrogance being demonstrated in Parliament is just for the cameras. And I think that the NPP's grassroots have suffered from this insincerity for 8 years. They should own up and be responsible.
Now, Mr. Bande, in the bigger picture, your government, the NDC, of course, is being accused of selective justice, of witch hunting. What's your response to that? As you rightly mentioned, your name has come up in this regard. What's your response to this accusation of witch hunting?
If they had called for my invitation, I would straight away tomorrow tender myself to the BNI, and I would have demanded the minority to bring the evidence that they were speaking to, but I don't think they have any evidence that suggests that I've threatened anybody. And like I said, I have not done so. As for arresting them, the game is yet to begin. They should sit and tighten their belts. It will be hot, it will be straight, it will be in the interest of the people of Ghana. Anybody under President Akufo-Addo's regime who have one way or the other stolen money, been involved in any corrupt deal at the expense of the people of Ghana will be arrested, will be prosecuted, and will be jailed if found guilty. Not for the purposes of political expedience, but for the justice of the people of Ghana. Look, let me tell you, most of the information that the state officials are using, most of the information at our disposal were not supplied by NDC people, but NPP people who believe that their people who was in government perpetrated a lot of crime against this country. And so when you have your own party calling for justice and you sit in Accra after you have eaten and you are satisfied, you are benefiting from the loot, you come and gather press conference and be speaking, it won't wash. It will
now,
not
Mustafa, finally, final question. Let's, on the issue of annulments of appointments and recruitments after December 7. We've got the NPP saying that in their case, it upheld appointments even after the 2016 elections. And so it doesn't see why you shouldn't be able to do same.
It's for Ghanaians to judge. I can assure them that we will help all institutions to clean their payroll up. All those individuals who were employed contrary to law, contrary to procedure, contrary to due process, even at the time of transition, will be sacked, including all those who were appointed to cover up for the crimes of former appointees. They will also be sacked. And those who think they can sabotage government, they will also go. Any public servant, if you are put in a position of service, you have a duty to be diligent. You have a duty to put the country first. If you put a political party first and you are in trouble, it is your own matter. In this case, public institutions and their CEOs were recruiting and doing promotions when both transition teams under President Akufo-Addo and President Mahama-elect agreed that there should be freeze on all recruitment processes ongoing. If you do that with the sole intention of either covering up your crimes or two, creating a liability for the incoming government, I think that it is fair that we sack those people, let the process be open to the public. If you are NDC, if you are MPP and you are competent, you should apply.
Mustafa, that's fine. Point clearly made. Thank you for joining us this evening. Mustafa Bande, Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, joining us on that matter here on News Tonight, which wraps up Insight. In other news this evening here on News Tonight, Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak has set up a committee to look into the recruitment of personnel into security services, protocol enlistments.
The Ayawaso West Wagon election violence. The aftermath revealed deeper issues. Unlawful recruitment into the country's security agencies, allegedly filled with party loyalists. A government white paper acknowledged these infractions and recommendations were made for more transparent system.
This is something that we need to investigate. But I don't know those who came here. So all my policemen are not much, you can see from wherever.
During the recent vetting of the defense minister, the minority leader Alexander Feyomakins made a rare admission about the political influence in security service recruitment.
The fact that I'm grilling you does not mean that when you get there and you are supposed to give protocol allocation, you deny me. I'm telling you, you cannot, because yes, there is, and committee members benefited. Yes, I am saying it on authority.
His statement sparked controversy, reigniting the debate over political interference in political agencies.
Honorable ranking member, I have also been in this house for some time, but I have not seen a situation where they say that a member you have this number of people go to your constituency and bring them to come and join military. If some people were treated that way, then there is an element of discrimination.
Now, in what appears to be an effort to restore confidence, the new Minister for Interior, Muntaka Mubarak, has set up a committee to review the process for recruiting into the security agencies. Muntaka Mubarak emphasized the need for fairness and professionalism in the process.
When I put all this together, there's a lot of concern that this recruitment that really happened in 2024 was in a rush. It wasn't done properly. And you see, you just don't go taking what people say on the streets, on the surface level. You need to get facts and you have to get information. And then we are in a country that we need to face realism.
With the latest intervention, the question remains, will this committee finally bring transparency to security services recruitment, or will history repeat itself? Zuleyha Nuhu, reporting for GHOne News.
In 2 weeks, and so as you see on your screen, these are the members of the committee: Executive Secretary, former Executive Secretary to NACOB, and Director of National Security Council, that's Yao Akresi Sarpong. He is a member of this committee. As you see, he served as Deputy of National Security Council, Director of the National Security Council from 1992 to 2009, and some other persons who are going to be on as part of this committee include Bright Ojuro, also serving as a member of the committee, retired Commissioner of Police. We've also got Alexander Chum, who is also on this list. Alexander Chum Berima, lawyer and member of the NDC legal team, forms part of the committee. Elsie Apau is a member of the committee as well, lawyer Elsie Apau. And this is also another member of this committee is Eric Ofori, who will be serving on this committee as well. So we've got Bryce Ojuro, Eric Ofori, Ben Latte, lawyer Elsie Apau, Alexander Chum Berima as well, and Parkwesi Edu Chum will be serving on this So that's the committee. The members of the committee that you saw on your screen, they're tasked to ensure transparency and professionalism in the recruitment process. Joining us via phone is Adam Bonar, security expert on this issue. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Adam Bonar. It's a pleasure to have you. Now, first of all, what do you make of this committee, the persons who make up this committee, and is it even a necessity to have this committee established?
Yeah, good evening. Yes, I think it's necessary to have the committee established because remember, going into the 2024 elections, we had a lot of back and forth with regards to recruitment processes. We had a lot of, back and forth with regards to some recruitment that were ongoing, and the then minority, with this now majority today, actually promised that there will be, reformations going into 2025 once, the NDC wins the elections. And so I think it's a step in the right direction. It's a step that would enhance, transparency, that would make it more believable. When young people say, I got in there by virtue of merit and all that. In the past, most of the people who joined the security services will tell you that they didn't know anybody. But over the period, that changed. And therefore, I think that if we can, even if it is not 100%, but a good percentage of those who are joining now have to get in there, not by virtue of knowing something, but by virtue of merits and other considerations. Then you would have a lot of people from the hinterlands getting in. We've gotten to a point where if you are from a hinterland, you are not from any of the major cities, and you don't know anybody, you are not connected to anybody, you never get to join. So I think that is a step in the right direction. And the personalities mentioned, I know some of them, and in fact, I can vouch. I can say these are people who we should give them that benefit of the doubt to give us a comprehensive policy that would enhance the way security personnel are recruited or are employed in this country.
Right. Now, very briefly, as you know, the committee is tasked with reviewing recruitment procedures specifically for the police service, the prison service, National Fire Service, Ghana Immigration Service, and other agencies. Specific initiatives and actions that you would hope to see from the committee, very briefly, what would they be?
Well, I would want to see regional balance. I want to see regional balance, and I want to see us go back using the virtual way of, getting people who want to apply. Like if you want to apply into a university today, you go online and you apply, and when admissions are out, you go on there to check whether you have been, admitted, and if you have, or which course have you been admitted into. These things have been made in a manner that makes it a bit more transparent. So I would want to see these things coming on board, and also ensuring that because a lot of the young people have been home for a long time, I want to see a policy where there will be an increase with regards to the age limit, because there are some of them who might have finished senior high school and haven't been privileged to go to the university, and currently are 28 years old. And if we are going to remain with the status quo, where we say if you are 24, you are a senior high school student, you are 25, you are cut off, then you have a good number of young people between 25 and 30 who cannot join these services. I think it's a policy that I think they would have to review so that they can include a good number of these who have been caught not by their making, but because there is no places for them to be employed. And so I think that is something that they should look at. And that has caused a lot of them going around trying to change their ages and swearing affidavit here and there. And it makes it very murky. So I want to see something in that direction to help some of the people who are between 25 and 30 also getting recruited. But as it stands now, the requirement usually will not include some of them for SSS. Unless you are a first degree holder and above. Very well. Dr. Adam Buna, as always, thank you so much for joining us this evening and sharing your thoughts on this issue. You're watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. In other news, Minority Chief Whip Frank Anod-Dompre remains resolute in his call for NPP supporters to defend themselves against any attacks from their NDC counterparts. Dismissing criticisms against him, the Nsawam Aduedri MP faced backlash last week, with many accusing him of inciting violence and violating public order. He argued that self-defense is necessary in the light of what he described as persistent attacks on NPP members. He made these comments in an upcoming episode of Star Chat with Bulare.
I'm not withdrawing the statement. I stand by that. I am ready to face the music. Whatever it takes. I'll be happy to meet the national security and I will tell them what is happening. Probably they are not aware what is happening in this country. What is happening at Santigold, GRA, people taking hostage of state institutions because their parties in power, and people are being attacked merely because they are political opponent. This is nothing. To say that if you find an NDC person attacking an NPP person, help the NPP person to attack the NDC. No, there is nothing wrong with that. The peace cannot be at our expense. So you have kids who always go out to school, they come, they are beaten, their school uniforms are torn, and they always buy new ones.
I'll get the police to arrest them.
Yes, but
the corporates.
That is your style. I would tell my kids to also be strong. I don't subscribe to violence for violence. I've met my party people, I was encouraging them to be strong. They are beating them here and there. They are burning party paraphernalia, they are burning electoral materials, they are beating our people. We should just be quiet. We will defend ourselves. If we have not defended ourselves, I would not have been alive by now.
Frank Anodompre has also dismissed claims that he provoked acting CEO of the Petroleum Commission, MFR Hardcastle, during the vetting of now Defense Minister Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah. The incident, which saw visibly upset MFR Hardcastle, referred to Anodompre as silly, sparked controversy. Breaking his silence following the speaker's intervention, Anodompre explained that he approached the guest seating area only to offer moral support to the nominee, given the heated exchanges over Omane-Boamah's alleged lateness before the committee.
When the exchanges was happening and he was seated there, I felt embarrassed. So I was going to him to tell him that, oh, Onya, it's cool. Don't worry, we're going to do it. His back was facing me. So the lady was the only person who was looking at me. So I was just signaling her to tell Boamah Omane that, okay, I want to have a word with him. Then he said, what do you call it? Something minority, micro minority, go away. She said it the first time, I didn't respond. I thought it was one of those, she said it the second time, then she said it the third time. Then I said, wow, you can't use that description for us. Even the speaker himself has withdrawn the usage of that description on us. Then the insult started.
She has apologized to you.
She did.
Did you also apologize to her? Maybe people are saying that you were too harsh on the woman.
I wasn't harsh. Somebody should show me evidence of where I was harsh. I would respect womanhood. That is why I walked away. I raised it on the floor because after she apologized, she was walking away and on the veranda.
Yeah.
She said worse things on the veranda. People heard it. Senior people in government heard it. Otherwise, I would have let go. Even the president is abused.
Well, the entire episode will be later tonight on Star Chat with Bulla Ray. In other news this evening, irate youth suspected to be members of the National Democratic Congress (NDC) stormed the head office of the Ghana National Gas Company Limited to demand the revocation of the appointment of Dr. Robert Latte as chief executive of Ghana Gas. In a video, the youth were captured attempting to forcibly open the main gates to the premises. This follows allegations suggesting a deep entrenchment of corruption within the organization. Dr. Latte, whose rise within the company raised eyebrows, was moved from his role as lead engineer to director in a remarkably short period under the leadership of Chief Executive Officer at the time, Dr. George Yankee. Sources have stated that his work has been marked by allegations of financial misconduct, including the awarding of contracts under dubious circumstances. Allegedly, under the just-ended administration, Dr. Ben Asante, the protesters say he was awarded multiple contracts, including lucrative projects at Ghana Gas, as part of an arrangement to maintain internal cover for questionable financial practices. Calm has, however, been restored as the police have taken over security in that area.
We are the grassroots. All we are calling for that we don't want Latin here again. We should go. We want a new person here. The people that we want are Samuel Ajete Anan, Mubarak Dutre Abdul, and Sumaila Brahima. We've told enough. We are the grassroots. We hold the party. So please, just listen to us. We want Samuel Ajete Anan, Mubarak Dutre Abdul, and Sumaila Brahima.
On to health-related issues. Government says it remains committed to deploying the needed expertise and logistics to deal with the outbreak of cerebrospinal meningitis in the Upper West region as the death toll hits 14. As of February 6th, the Upper West region had recorded 60 suspected cases, 16 confirmed cases, with 14 succumbing to the disease. Cerebrospinal meningitis is a severe condition that causes inflammation of the protective membranes surrounding the brain and the spinal cord. Late diagnosis and treatments can lead to severe complications, including neurological damage and death. Hence the call made by Health Minister Kwabena Minta Akando for citizens to report to health facilities at the earliest symptom.
And as you all know, I took office just on Monday, 2 days ago, and I had clear marching orders from Mr. President. In fact, even the day we were being sworn in, Mr. President asked the status of meningitis, cholera, and some other outbreaks in the system. And so I had to, hit the ground running. And so we are here today. Let us use the opportunity to thank the health professionals who have sacrificed so much to contain the disease at this point in time. We thank them so very much. We we appreciate the effort. And going forward, we are going to provide whatever it takes to be able to contain this disease. For now, we have brought some number of items. The antibiotics they are using, we have brought enough. And the directive is that anybody who suspects, whether you are sneezing, coughing, you have neck stiffness, you must rush quickly to the nearest health facility, and that person will be taken care of free of charge. So you should not sit at home for the situation to get worse before you go to the health facilities. So this is free of charge, and we are bringing enough assistance to the region to be able to carry out that exercise. And for now, we have also dispatched, even in advance before I got here, we have dispatched the rapid response team from Accra, and they are on the field as we walk.
Let's stay on this issue a while longer and speak with James GHOne Amwa. He's a public health analyst joining via Zoom. It's good to have you. Thank you for joining. Now, first of all, can you educate viewers as per what symptoms to look out for as it pertains to this?
Thank you very much for having me. So meningitis, as you clearly said, is inflammation of the brain, the membrane of the brain, also spinal cord, and mostly caused by a bacteria, can also be caused by a virus. When this happens, most of the symptoms you see is that you have stiff neck, your neck becomes very stiff. You go through a number of headache. Some of them also go through photophobia. Once they see light, they don't tolerate the light. And these are things that happen because the brain controls almost all the organs of our body. So then the membrane around the brain is infected, then all the other body parts will be infected as well. So these are some of the things that they'll go through: sneezing, most like those respiratory conditions, they also go through the same, in addition to the cardinal symptoms, which is the stiff neck and then the severe headache that they experience.
Well, with that being said, and these cases that we have been recorded so far, how much of a concern would you say it is as per the quick spread?
So it's not new in this country. It's endemic in Ghana, mostly in the northern part of Ghana. It used to be the 3 northern regions, now the 5 northern regions. And for this year, for example, the Ofori region is very, that's recording more numbers. The fact that we are seeing the numbers means that our surveillance system as a country is on course. Because if the surveillance system is not on course, we will not be able to detect these cases early and report the numbers that we are reporting. So seeing the numbers is good because it tells us that we're able to isolate those who have the infection from the general population, that they don't infect the rest of the people. It also means that once we're able to see those who have the infection now, we can do contact tracing to know all those around them who might have come into contact with them. We can also screen those people, and those that come out to be positive are also taken out of the population. In this case, we are reducing the the rate of infection within the community because we are getting more the people who are infected out of the population to ensure that those who are there receive the treatment that they need. And so we shouldn't be very alarmed because once you're recording the numbers, means that the health system is working. Secondly, it also means that we must also get the public education on course, that everybody within the 5 regions in the country get to know the fact that the meningitis is happening now. They must wash their hands frequently. They must take in more fluids. If they are sneezing, they should wear their mask. Make sure they do a lot more isolation so they don't infect those around them. Whilst we are doing this, we are getting education to the various people around in those communities. And in that case, we will then be able to reduce the rate at which the infection is happening in the 5 regions of the country.
Very well, James Amwa, thank you for joining. Thank you for your time this evening. You're live here on News Tonight on GHOne TV. Do stay with us. We bring you business news next. Business news this evening. Several weeks after fire devastated their livelihoods, scores of traders at Kantamanto have accused market leaders of hoarding funds donated for rebuilding. Speaking to my colleague Abigail Osei, the traders expressed concerns over the loans they were forced to take to restart their businesses. There's more in this report.
This is Kantamanto Market here in Accra, where traders have taken matters into their own hands by rebuilding after the devastating fire. With some support coming from the government and philanthropists, they've worked relentlessly to restore what was lost. But is this going to be a long-term solution to the recurring incidents happening here in Kantamanto?
Nti the see an obantem kra wapata we insider obantem ese se ope ba bi tenansa ebi kita cylinder sakese akese yes ra wo mo e ba ye ne kan ye nyina yantimi anyi bibi ba akokora nti kaduane fo ne de ye besre se nko mbe no afiri ba bi di aba.
Eva Sari and Nana Sewa expressed concerns that market leaders had hoarded funds donated for the rebuilding of the market.
Nti yeti anu wo mo je 1000 no mo de koto nnua ene nchensen ebe ye ha e ma ye bete fom no a ye to ye ne de ya na ye to ya de enti yen sika aba mpanyimfo nsem no ye nhu bi ye san ho a na ye hu simpanifo ni bi aba aban mu mpanifo omu diska kasia aba afa ska na ba ye no mama ye twetwe ska bobom pata de a na mama ye hu ska ne ba bi ska na wo uko bi sa we oso hu ni me like
Helena, who was still in the process of rebuilding her shop, lamented that she had to take out a loan to secure a new space.
So people see an done when I'm a young mob and what time dear mammy. Me family and a baby or quafine on Fanquato. Me here.
However, one of the market leaders, Hayford Amwa, denied claims that some traders were deprived of funds.
Said ye call ye papa president watch ye say ye modern see be security no yes ye was ni nyina buye it's see ya me na wo kasei ya start ya mo to no nti be say adwuma bie wasase su ye ni nyina wi ansana ho nkuntabu sem o ma ye di skasem na hye o mo nso abebu nkuta kire ye mpanifo no ansana ye ni dwama no nso nyina ahia abu ho nkunta.
As traders work tirelessly to rebuild their businesses, the accusations of mismanaged funds add another layer of struggle to their recovery. While market leaders deny any wrongdoing, many traders are still burdened with loans and uncertainty. For these traders, survival means resilience, but at what cost? Reporting for GHOne TV, I am Abigail Osei.
You're watching News Tonight. Next, we bring you sports news.
First off, let's start with the High Court in Accra that has discharged former president of the Ghana Football Association, lawyer Kwesi Nyantakyi and Abdullah Al-Hassan, of charges leveled against them after the number 12 expose by investigative journalist Anas Arimaya Onas. The Criminal Division of the High Court, presided over by Justice Marie-Louise Simmons, held that the prosecution had delayed in calling its witnesses, including Anas, and she further indicated the court could not wait for them. The former GFA president was charged with fraud and corruption. Mr. Nyantakyi, together with the former Northern Regional representative of the GFA, Abdullah Al-Hassan, were facing the charge of conspiracy to commit fraud. They pleaded not guilty and were granted bail to a tune of 1 million cedis each, with 3 sureties to be justified. But since 2021, when the charges were preferred against them, the prosecution has failed to call witnesses, including Anas Arimaya Onas. Controversy surrounding Anas's mode of testimony surfaced, and the High Court ruling on May 17, 2023 indicated that Anas should unmask to Nyantakyi in chambers but testify in open court with a mask on. All right, so next to our next story, the Minister for Development, Youth Development, has been speaking, George Parado, he's been speaking about the betting tax and it's being scrapped.
Like the Bible says, the devil will always find work for the ideal hands. If I have a job, and I'm not speaking to just betting, but I'm speaking about things that do not sit well with society in general. If I have a job in the morning and I report at 8, and then I close at 5, and I'm paid well, I'll have little time for some vices. If my orientation is right, if I have a proper appreciation of issues, if I understand what my life is all about, there are certain things I will not get myself into. So there is nothing wrong with betting. It's a recreation all around the world. If betting was wrong, it would have been classified as an illegal activity. But it is very legal and legitimate. It is how people go about it that makes it wrong.
All right, so good news for the investors there in a way. So that is from the Minister for Employment, Youth and also Empowerment there. All right, George Parado. Next to our first other story on the international front, FIFA has suspended an employee following his arrest on charges of enticement of a minor for sex while on work trip in Miami. According to the Miami Herald, Jack Edward Cowles was taken into custody on Friday for federal agents from Homeland Security investigations at the hotel near FIFA offices in Coral Gables. All right, that's it for sports. Over to you, Natalie.
Thanks, Joel, for the sports news there. In watching news tonight, we've got entertainment news next. As Valentine's Day approaches, some Ghanaians are getting into the romantic spirit by celebrating the beauty of love and relationships through the timeless sounds of high life music, from classic hits by Amashi Dede and Kojo Entry to modern renditions by Akwaba and Kwabena.
Hi there, we are in the month of love, and in the spirit of the season, we are out here to find out from you what your best Ghanaian love song is.
I like Daddy Lumba love song. Semeniwaya, and the enemy.
Song, it's Kwabena. Only me royal lady. I think that's all I can remember.
Kwabwa, Odoseya no Domi.
Music. Kwabena. That's my favorite.
My favorite song is Amachi Dede because my heart has been broken before. That's the baby.
Well, certainly classic love songs then. Don't forget to join us tomorrow at the Elisa Hotel for a special Valentine's celebration organized by Duvet, show on GHOne TV. From 8 a.m. we'll have sales, Valentine's Day sales, and we'll have a special dinner to conclude the evening. You wouldn't want to miss this opportunity to share with your loved ones and friends. Thank you so much for watching News Tonight this evening. It was produced by Burzis Abu Bedu Lanza. Lots more news on our website, starfm.co.gh. I'm Natalie Fort. Have a wonderful evening.